Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Andrea Wilson, and I am a recruiting operations specialist with K12. I work in our HR department, and I want to welcome you to our meet and greet for Ohio Digital Learning School. And to those just joining, just be sure to mute your microphone. We'll give you an opportunity if you want to hop on the mic later on after our presentation. Again, if this is your first time, please let us know in the chat box. Let us know what you hope to get out of the session today. We have a lot of different speakers that will be talking to you, as well as one of our recruiters to let you know about our different positions. So we're just going to get started. But again, we do want to welcome you to our Ohio Digital Learning School meet and greet. Just want to give you a list of who are representatives that are in the room today. We have our head of school, Kate Harkless, Crystal Lockwood, we have Laura Houghton, Mahaley Albane, Jennifer King, Alicia Volpe, Tom Loomis, and Ann Manigan. And if I've pronounced your name, please touch it to my head, not my heart. So you will be hearing from them shortly. But before we hear more about our school, we will have Keisha Pierce. She will introduce herself. She's my manager, but she will be giving you a little overview of who K12 is before we start talking about Ohio Digital. Keisha, take it away.
Good afternoon and welcome everybody. I'm so excited. I've been pressing this admit button about every second since 2:57, so we have a nice little group in here. I just want to get us grounded, give us a little foundation here at K12. We make sure that everything is grounded in our mission statement and our values, so just wanted to say them here. We help students reach their full potential through inspired teaching and personalized learning, and we do that through our value system, which is our impact, passion, accountability, courage, and trustworthiness. So if you guys on the phone on the phone, computer, in the ether are interested in coming to help and work with students, this is the place to be. Now about K12, we're the nation's leading provider of online curriculum for grades K through 12. We do that through a variety of sources: online public schools, online private schools, blended hybrid schools, and then also we do direct coursework. For most of you who may not have taught in the virtual world before, I think with this pandemic, lots of people are getting some, shedding some light on virtual schools. I think you'll hear from some of our teachers how different it is on this side when you get to plan it and prepare it and have platforms. So that'll be exciting. We started in 2000, so we've been doing this for 20 years. And within that, 20 years ago, we still had dial-up. So we are kind of new frontiers on everything that's happening, and excited to just keep doing things better and keep teaching students and reaching people. We're headquartered in Herndon, Virginia, which is right outside of, well, not right, but right outside of Washington, D.C. And we are excited to talk with you all today.
Thanks, Keisha. Now, we'll just talk about a little bit of how virtual teaching works. And to shed more light on that, we will have Jennifer King and Alicia Volpe to give you more of an insight of what it's like virtual teaching. Jennifer, or Alicia, whichever wants to start, go right ahead.
So, hi, I'm Alicia Volpe. I am one of the intervention specialists at Ohio Digital. So being an intervention specialist, I do work more one-on-one with students, but still I attend just kind of like a co-teaching position with Miss King. So that's one reason we're here together. But I just really work one-on-one. I do student support within the classroom. We also have a supported study hall that the intervention specialists run, separate from the gen ed study hall. We do a lot of accommodations and modifications just pertaining to their IEP. We hold IEP meetings just like this in Zoom. But that's about it. I'll answer more at the Q&A part.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer King. I teach high school math, and currently I'm teaching the geometry classes at Ohio Digital as well as credit recovery. I do have a new little one at home, so this opportunity has been super flexible. She's in the background in the jumper, so you get a real taste of what it's like as a digital teacher, especially underneath the pandemic circumstances. But we teach 8 to 5 on the computer and totally engaged in everything. She's going to join me here for a second. Class engagement is always really high when she joins us in class. But we teach just like normally, and we are always in class asking questions. I'm on camera probably about 95% of the time with students. And then there are days where we're not on camera, but we're holding those one-on-one sessions and really helping and engaging them as much as we can in study halls and in office hours. If you guys have more questions, I'll be around throughout the session as well.
Thanks, Jennifer and Alicia. We will be having a question and answer portion towards the end. So we will definitely be talking about, what a day in a life looks like. So just save your questions for when we're at the end, and we'll definitely be able to try to answer as many as we can. So moving forward, we're going to talk more about Ohio Digital School as itself. So I will be having Haley to talk a little bit more about that.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mahaley, and I am the academic admin or the principal. And this is our very first year as a school, although we've been told many times by many people that, what do you mean you're a first year school? It doesn't appear to be a first year school, which to me means we're doing a lot of things correctly. We are here in solid. We serve 9th through 12th graders aged 16 to 21. We are a dropout recovery and prevention school. We have about 450 students right now. This year we had 12 general education teachers and 5 special education teachers. So you can see that we do a lot. Everybody has many roles to play, but as we grow, we'll become a little bit more specialized, right? We do have a PLC, or a professional learning community, that meets virtually every month to improve our virtual instruction. We do typically, this year's a little bit different with the pandemic and everyone staying home, but typically we have 2 or 3 face-to-face professional development meetings, beginning of the year, middle of the year, end of the year, as well as virtual professional development. So you get to be on camera and talking with your peers daily. There's definitely no reason to feel like, since you're at home working, that you're really an island. We do try to do a lot of things to connect with everyone else on staff. We also will be meeting more with our students, hopefully in the fall, face-to-face. We do all of our state testing face-to-face, so there is some travel involved. And we will have our quarterly navigator posts. We are the navigators. That's why they're navigator posts. Our students decided on our mascot this year, so it works. But it just provides us more opportunities to meet with them face-to-face, because that's something that students often feel like they miss a part of when they go to school virtually instead of in a brick-and-mortar situation.
Thanks, Mahaley. Now we'll have Kate Harkless, who is our head of school for ODLS, to just talk about our fun facts and some frequently asked questions that they get for coming to their school.
Yeah. So some of these are pretty fun facts here. We do participate in STRS, which we get asked that quite a bit. Our teachers have to be licensed. We do require AI and BCI backgrounds upon hiring, and then every 4 years. I'm really excited that I know Mahaley.
Kate, you're frozen and you're breaking in and out, just FYI.
So, so people enjoy being here, which is great. Yeah. Did I freeze?
Yep.
You froze
think
for
I
a second.
froze.
If you could repeat what you said, we don't want to miss all the wonderful information you just spoke.
Yeah. How far did I get?
Not very far.
I was going to say it was working fine until I had to talk. I'm going to turn off my camera and see if that helps. So we participate in STRS. I think we said that. Teachers have to be licensed and require, we do FBI and BCI background checks when teachers are hired, and then every 5 years. So that's for all staff, not just teachers. I was talking about that only having a 6% turnover rate, which we're really excited. This shows the satisfaction checks that we give throughout the year. And I say all of this to tell you that we are looking for new positions rather than back.
I think she froze.
Do you want me to pick up here?
Yes. If
Okay.
you'd like to go ahead.
Sorry, I was just trying to not interrupt if Kate was going to not be frozen. Sometimes we do have technical glitches, and we try to work together to fix that, or to at least not interrupt classes for students and meetings. So you'll find that every once in a while when our platforms are overloaded, we just keep trying new things. But Kate's main point was we are growing. When she said we only had a 6% turnover rate this school year, with a 93% satisfaction rating, we take our pulse checks very seriously. We take our environment and our culture very seriously. We want people to be happy when they work here, because we are a team and we very much have to work together to grow as a team and to grow our students. So we're not looking to fill positions for people who are leaving. We are looking to fill brand new positions because we are growing. So we are interested in hiring general education teachers in every content area: math, science, social studies, English, and electives. We're looking to hire intervention specialists, advisors, and school counselors. So we definitely are predicted to grow quite a bit this summer. Frequently asked question is about how long are we teaching? I know that it was on a previous slide that said our contract day is 8 to 5. Our students are in class from 8:30 until about 3:30. And teachers teach about 5 live hours every day. So there are some breaks built in, like lunches built in. Common planning time will be built in for next year. So the schedule is something that you will see ahead of time, and there won't be any surprises to that. But there is a lot of time that's focused on that individual learning and targeted instructional practices, because our students are all over the board. Like I said, they're 16 to 21. They are dropout recovery, so they're either behind in their credits, maybe they've left school for a while and they're coming back trying to get their diploma. If you're looking for an elementary school in Ohio, Ohio Virtual Academy, OHVA, does everything kindergarten through 12th grade. Ohio Digital is specifically for high schoolers.
Thanks, Haley. So while we were talking about positions and how they will be looking to hire, I just want to have our recruiter for this school, Chika Hale, if you could just kind of introduce yourself and if you can talk about any of the positions that are available, and then I will show them how they can apply on our website.
Sure. So I'm Chai. I'm the academic recruiter here for ODLS. Currently, we have a special education requisition open. We will be having more positions probably posting in June on our K12. You can find it on the K12 career site. And what happens is you will apply to the position online. If you're asked to move forward, you will complete a digital interview. There'll be 8 questions there. And you will be asked to teach your favorite lesson and record yourself on YouTube and take that link, your YouTube link, and upload it to question number 8. That way our hiring team will view your digital interview and review your lesson plan, your presentation of your lesson plan. Students not required. You're pretending that your students are there, obviously. And then if you're asked to move forward from there, the recruiting team will reach out to you and schedule a phone interview.
Thank you,
And so
Chai.
Thanks, Drea.
And again, like Chai was saying, you're gonna go onto www.k12.com/careers. And for a brief moment, I'm going to stop share and I'm going to show you on our website how you would do that. So let me just share this screen with you. All right. Okay, can everyone see the website? Okay. And don't mind me if I'm looking back and forth. I have 2 screens that I'm maneuvering. Okay, so this is our K12 careers page. When you're up here, it will show you just a brief message that we have about our office. And we also have events and spotlights so you can see what events we have going on. Once you scroll past that, and as well, we show our PACT, our K12 values. This is where you would go as far as you're trying to find a job to apply to. So there's school staff and corporate. So there's 2 separate categories. You want to click on school staff. And then this page will come up. And from here is where you can search for positions. It says find opportunities. You can also log in to create a presence. Basically, that's where you would go so you can upload your resume, your certifications, transcripts, all of that will go when you sign in. So from here, I'm just gonna put in, you can type in the title, the job title, job category. If you know the requisition number, that's not required, but you can type that there. Or I typically will go by the location, so Ohio. So just to give you an example, this is what it looks like. So this is our other school that's in Ohio that we talked about, which is OHVA. But the opportunities will come up like this. And basically, you would click on it, and then it would give you more information about the position. So Trika was talking about the special education teacher. So I'm just going to click on that. It's going to give you the job details, when it was posted. It also links to their school website if you wanted to look at that. There's a day in the life, so there's different links there. You'll want to click on this button, apply now, to apply for the position. But you can read through the responsibilities and qualifications that are needed here. And this is where you typically will go to apply for the position. So I will stop. Well, let me see if I can So once you click apply, it'll ask you, if you haven't created an account, you can. So you put your first name, last name, email, you create a password, phone number, and then register. And then from there, you'll be able to apply for positions, as well as creating a presence. I believe it allows you to, let me just go back. There's also like a little area where you can put my ideal job title, your education level. This also helps with building your presence, so it kind of shows what you're interested in. I think that also helps you with searching. But we just wanted to give a brief just overview of how to, find jobs on our website. But again, the website is www.k12.com/careers. And once you're there, I'll go back.
Hey, can you show them the alert before you leave?
Sure.
You have to put in Ohio again.
Okay, let's do that. Yeah. So to do a job alert, you'll just click the activate job alerts for this search. And so again, you're logging in, and then you can click to make that a job alert, so you'll constantly see those jobs come up. I'll go back to that page. But that's where you would go, you click that green button right there.
So if you're interested in positions, I would go in today, put yourself a job alert, and as soon as something pops up, you will get an email. And that's the best way to know the first person kind of there to apply.
So now we have come to the part of our show where everyone can participate. We're gonna ask some questions. So I'm gonna look in chat to see what questions we have, but feel free to type them now into the chat box. What I am going to ask is, I know they were asking about the day-to-day. So if you could just talk about what a typical day would look like for a virtual teacher, like how you plan out your day from your live sessions. I know Jennifer, you talked about it. If you wanted to just talk about it more, or Alicia, feel free.
I can speak on that. Sorry, before, my daughter always wants to have her voice heard. It never fails. But so what is really nice is that we are credit recovery based. And so a lot of the PowerPoints and presentations that I worked on in the first quarter, I now am using again in fourth quarter with modifications and changes based on my students' needs and assessment data. So there was a lot of prep time that I used in the beginning months, getting all the content and activities ready. But now a typical day in the life is I would wake up, I would log in, check my email, and then I would get my classes set up. This year we're using Blackboard, but we are changing to Neuro next year, so that should be fun. A lot of the setup process we'll no longer have to do on the day-to-day. I'll load my content in, and then as students come into my classroom, I greet them just like you would in a brick-and-mortar school. I could talk more about how the lesson itself would look, but we're still using that engagement, the content focused, and then using assessments throughout the lesson. So be it kind of like the exit ticket strategy or the fist to 5, if you're familiar with these in a brick and mortar building, I'm using those along the way. Students tend to not turn on their camera in my classroom, but they are required to participate and be fully engaged within each lesson, which is really important. And then I'm tracking them. So am I giving them a sticker, as we call it? Do they understand the content or do they not? And that helps me gauge my teaching just like you would in a brick and mortar school. I teach 5 classes a day. One of them is asynchronous, so I have 2 at the same time. And that is set up in an independent work session where students can ask for that one-on-one support. Or if I see their grade is struggling, I will pull them for that one-on-one support. And that tends to be the day in life. Then office hours and study hall where students can get more of that help, especially with their work time. And maybe they have some other needs that put them in our school district, be it health or family structure. And then we essentially are office management and other meetings throughout the day like we are here, which is a nice way to end the day. Is there anything I didn't answer in that day in the life?
I had someone ask how much freedom do you have with lesson planning and curriculum? So if you can talk about that portion.
So I definitely use the K12 content probably 95% of the time. And then I'm always filling in, especially with the Ohio State testing, those end of course exams, and then ACT questions within that. But we do have a lot of freedom within the standards and working closely with our intervention specialists and our principal, Dr. Mahaley, on making sure that we are addressing the full needs content-wise. But I feel like I have more freedom here than I did in a brick and mortar as far as creativity and implementation within my courses.
Thanks, Jen. Now, I know, Mahaley, I know you answered this in chat, but could you just talk over the mic about the question when they talked about how do you handle resident educators, just so the audience can hear your response?
Absolutely. So we do have a mentor for our resident educators. So that is our lead teacher who is in-house and who has quite a bit of experience with K-12 curriculums in schools. And so we set that up so our resident educators are meeting with their mentor in addition to our traditional PLCs and our staff meetings. Essentially, you get all the support that you could ever want and need, whether it's through your mentor or also, I mean, everybody on our admin team and everybody really on, you know, in any of our positions just kind of steps up and says, well, what do you need help with? Have you tried this? Have you thought about that? And anything that you can do in a brick and mortar school, we can find a way to do it virtually.
And Patrick, I saw your question about clubs. K-12 has national clubs that involve every school, like any student in a K-12 school can come to those clubs. And then each school, like Ohio Digital Learning School, can have their own clubs. And that does have to have a staff member sponsorship. And then we ask the students to have at least 3 other students that would like to participate. And then they have to have some sort of service project. But it's not a requirement of teachers, but available there if they'd like to.
Laura, do you want to talk about the gator ponds too? That's another
Yep. So
activity.
every Friday in a Zoom meeting like this, we just open it up. My team, the student support team, ask students if they'd like to come, and they come and they just pop on their camera and they just hang out. So it's basically just an open hangout time, and we just monitor to make sure everything's school appropriate and they can talk and chat, and sometimes they play games and things like that. We have a lot of online games, and that's pretty much every Friday unless something crazy happens. And then I see somebody asked, Kate, if you don't mind, about the parent involvement. So every email that's sent to a student goes to a parent. The parents also, they'll learn what we call a learning coach. And so they're involved that way. We also have night sessions for parents sometimes. Parents are also automatically invited to every session if they did want to swing in or jump in or see what their students are learning. We also we use calls a lot, and what we call Robo Calling. So it's basically automated messages that go to the parents if something's going on. And then parents call us a lot, and we talk with them and go over. And then when a parent logs in, the first thing they really see is the student's progress and grades. And then parents also have to log what we call offline time. So all the time that a student is spent, writing a paper or reading a book or things like that, the parents log all of that time for us.
So I see Sammy Fisher asked, how does the intervention specialist handle their caseloads and classes? Is it all inclusion?
So I can answer that. I'm Crystal Lockwood. I'm the Special Programs Director. so also known as the Special Education Department. So with the intervention specialist, our team right now, we started off extremely small. Alicia was one of the first teachers on board with us, and we have grown very rapidly. So we started with a very small caseload. Right now, the teachers are running between 20 and 24 on their caseload, depending on the influx with our students. So you would handle your caseload, you would be assigned your caseload, which also would have like a homeroom time. So you would have that group of your students that you would know exactly who you're responsible for. And then we use trackers through Excel to manage the entire caseload as a whole. We use IEP Anywhere as our program writer. And so with that, we spend a lot of time, like Alicia said, in and out of the classroom. This year we did a lot more inclusion pieces where the teachers were involved in the classrooms, and then during our small group study hall and pull-out time, they would work with the students one-on-one. Next year we are building in, because we have grown so rapidly, we are building in some more pull-out sessions where students will get that small group instruction. One of the things that I did not anticipate happening this year was that we actually have a self-contained classroom. Usually when you think of credit deficient students, and even in the world of special ed, typically your more moderate students are not usually involved in that. And right now our self-contained teacher is running at max caseload of 16. And so they are all alternate assessed, and it has been a unique challenge, but they do participate in their extra electives as well as through some additional resources. I saw that.
Did someone else have a question? I did see someone say how many students would each teacher be responsible to teach.
Each teacher, because the state of Ohio has caseload limits, the max would be 24 on your caseload. And then if you were a self-contained, we try to keep that classroom at 12, but by law we can move all the way up to 16 to that cross-categorical. And at this point we have done that. We've moved to the 16.
So I think maybe she also means if you're not special ed, students or teachers can expect to have roughly 190 students. And it sounds like a lot, but they are broken down into multiple preps. In terms of what kinds of electives are available, we've got everything from creative writing, journalism, Gothic literature, criminology, psychology, geography. We definitely have 3 English electives. We have, I want to say we almost have 3 electives for every content area, plus a couple of different PE classes, health. We've got 3 different art classes right now. So we just keep growing in electives, and the more teachers that we have, the more electives that we are able to offer. Yes, you do have to be certified to teach art.
Yep. And as far as with intervention, the IEP meetings are written. We usually have meetings between the blocks that are available that we at least can get a gen ed teacher. So we try like from 8 to 8:30, we'll have a meeting. From like 11:30 to 1:30, we have a block that we can meet. And then a lot of times at 2:45 to 5 is when we spend most of our time catching parents. I will say that we do have quite a few IEP meetings in the evenings. We try to accommodate the parent. So a lot of times we'll have 6:30 meetings if the parent is a second shift worker. It just kind of depends. The team is absolutely phenomenal and is very flexible with meeting outside of our work time to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our families. And as far as like the intervention, there are a lot of times that, and Alicia can speak to this too, that we work together to make those meetings happen. And if one intervention person can't cover it, somebody else will jump in and cover it. The gen ed teachers are very good about making sure that they're present, and at times if we can't get a gen ed teacher, then we'll utilize Dr. Alvin will jump in and help us out. So
Awesome. Thanks. Keep the questions coming, everyone. Let's see. I have, some person said I have a master in education instructional technology. Would I be eligible to teach? Or are you asking like what positions would you be available to apply for? Is that what you're asking, Kim?
I'll just chime in and say for art or any other course, you have to be certified by the state. Now the state, and you would have to go, I don't know all the details and all the specifics about individual people, but the state does also give alternative licenses as well based off of experience. So as long as you're certified with the state, you can teach in whatever subject area you're certified in.
and as far as the inclusion intervention specialist writing lesson plans, you'd be co-teaching with that gen ed teacher. So the goal would be that you guys would be having a common planning time, and you would be planning those lessons. And it could be one teach, one assist. It could be parallel teaching. Every day is a new experience, and you do sometimes right on a whim. You might have a big group lesson, and there's this small group of kids that you can pull out into a breakout room, and it may not be all special ed. It may be gen ed and special ed. So the intervention specialists are very, very flexible in that piece of whatever the whole class needs is where we make it fit. Alicia, I know you're still on here. Can you kind of talk a little bit about how you and Jen operate your classroom? Because you guys do a great job with co-teaching and then the pull-out piece.
There it goes. So yeah, we do a lot of co-teaching. I would say probably 50% of the time I am just kind of fielding questions from the kids, because there's like a running chat box similar to what we have here. And I'm just kind of answering a lot of the questions that are just, I don't get this, can you re-explain? Sometimes I'll pull them into a separate breakout room. We'll go over another question or something similar. We also use those breakout rooms for test accommodations within the classroom. Sometimes she'll call me in the morning and say, hey, baby's not doing well. I got a doctor's appointment, this and the other. Because I'm in the classes, I'm able to kind of jump on the fly. Baby Nora likes to be vocal sometimes, and Jen can't complete her sentence, so I'll just kind of take over and roll with it until baby Nora is her happy little clam self again. So we do a lot together, and it makes it easy. But at the beginning of the year, I would have, and until we know our kids a little better, is who's actually going to come to class, who's the ones that need the most help within those classes, intervention-wise. I would be in 2 to 3 classes at the same time. So the nice thing is we have the split screen ability on our K12 computers, and so I was able to have 2, but so sometimes it's going algebra, geometry, algebra, geometry, algebra. But so being able to have that flexible attitude is definitely helpful when we're doing the co-teaching model for us.
So I'm seeing a question they're asking about how do you handle discipline issues? If you could just kind of talk about that.
I can answer that one. So a lot of discipline issues, we don't see as many discipline issues as you do in a brick and mortar. I'd say the biggest misbehavior we typically see are students not logging in, and we're reaching out and trying to get them engaged. That's the biggest, I guess, discipline issue. But we do have a code of conduct, and students are held to that. We have had one suspension so far, and we handle that the same way as a brick and mortar would. But just due to the tools that you have, if students start speaking out, you can control their chat functions and turn it off. If you have a lot of control over what they can do that other people can see. But typically, our students are here to earn their credits and graduate. So we don't have very many discipline issues. And then I could answer, I see a few questions about technology also, and this supply. So all of our staff receives a laptop and a printer bundle that they need. We also have a $100 stipend for office supplies if you need it for the year. Am I missing anything else? I mean, everything that you really need is on the laptop. It has everything we do is web-based.
And I did have someone ask what sort of technology requirements does the job have?
So everything equipment-wise and tech requirements for a computer are taken care of with the computer. That's right, a mouse and headset are included in that. You do have to have, tech skills. You have to be comfortable using the internet, comfortable in a session like this. It's not, you don't have to have a lot, you don't have to be advanced in your tech skills, but you definitely need to have them. I did see there's a question too about, we do reimburse for internet also for anybody who's not working at the office, which is almost our entire staff, all the positions that we're looking for. But you do need internet.
And someone said, did they have to have a document cam? But they said no document cam, or no document cam provided, but you can set up an iPad or cell phone as a doc cam.
Yep, people have done different things. With that $100 office stipend, I think a few of our team members have gotten a document camera. Oh, and I did miss the question. You need to be licensed in Ohio, and you either need to live within Ohio or I believe within 45 miles of the border. We do reimburse for travel. We don't do lots of travel, but we do for the professional development, and then state testing is the biggest chunk of travel. And all teachers are required, all licensed staff are required to help with state testing. So we do have sites across the state, and students that live nearby come to those sites to take the typical end of course and OGT assessments.
And Kate, as far as intervention team, if you're not trained, we do require that all of our ISs get the alternate assessment training, just because our students are all over the state, and it allows not just our self-contained teacher to do all 16 tests. So we try to get everybody involved with that as well.
And Tanya asked about if somebody walks you through the process. It's a big transition. I remember when I moved from brick and mortar to virtual, and this was what I wanted to do. And I consider myself pretty techie. It was still an adjustment. So we have a really structured training program. We have our lead teacher as a mentor that works with you. And then on the special ed side, we also have a mentor who works with our new hires and walks them through everything that they need to know. I always tell everybody it took me probably 3 to 4 weeks before I felt like I knew what I was doing. So we are really understanding about that. We will come on before school starts so that you have time to get acclimated and feeling comfortable with the position. But even after those first few weeks, if you have questions, our lead mentor teacher is there. We work with K12's talent development and community team, and they help also with in-class questions. So there's a lot of resources. Yep.
And can you talk about the school calendar? Someone was asking what the school calendar looked like.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty typical calendar. We start in August. This year we start August 17th for students. And then we have, winter break, spring break, normal holidays, and then we end in the end of May. We do STRS, and I'm sorry if I took that. There are personal and sick days. Personal days are use it or lose it, but sick days accumulate, and I think that they max out at 360 hours. Dress code, there's not a specific dress code, but look nice and professional, at least waist up, because everybody is on the webcams. That is an expectation that we're all on webcams. So definitely look presentable and happy. Always wear a smile.
Let's see, any more questions? We're almost in our last 10 minutes. Let's see. Now, I know you were saying, Kate, as far as the adjustment piece from coming from brick and mortar, but what would you say was the as far as the adjustment, was there like the biggest thing that you would say the difference between brick and mortar and virtual that you occurred or found out when you started virtually teaching?
Yeah, there's a lot of systems to learn. I think that was probably the part and like knowing where to go for what was, the first kink I had to work out there. Let's see, one thing that was an adjustment for me was that with students not being on the camera back then, although with our conversion to Neuro, I think we'll have a lot more, it's more webcam friendly like this program. But with them not being on the webcam, it was an adjustment with learning. I didn't have that nonverbal communication that I had in the classroom. So there are lots of, we build that into the system. You just have to learn how to start reading that rather than those nonverbal cues. But one adjustment that I really loved was that I got to know my students so much better. I knew about them and their families. They were more excited to share the things that they did over the weekend and, email you when something exciting happened to them. And I just felt like I knew them so much better. So that was a really good adjustment.
I would say from the intervention piece, like Kate said, really getting to know your students. But one of the things that I found most beneficial for K-12 is that we do what is best for our kids, regardless. If they need services, we get them services. If they need counseling, we get them counseling. If they need speech, OT, PT, we do those evaluations. We have a case manager who is a school psychologist who organizes everything. And when we do those evaluations, we do them to the best of our absolute ability to meet everything. So we get kids who come in with old testing data. The previous school district did a records review. So now everything is 6 years old, and had they been in the brick and mortar, they probably would have done another records review. We don't do that. They actually do face-to-face testing with the kids. The teachers do additional testing. We get to know our kids from the additional pieces, because when we get those old ETRs, we all know that after they've been in special ed for a long period of time, we don't get that information. We don't know the back history. And so we have the opportunities to really get down and into the nitty gritty with the families and learn the histories. And a lot of times it seems like, and Alicia can really elaborate on this, like they get comfortable with us and we learn way more than we probably ever wanted to know about their families and their backgrounds and their history. But also it allows us the ability to then know that when our ISs are in those classrooms and you have a student who is having a really off day, we know what's going on behind the scenes, that we can convey that to the gen ed teachers that will help them be able to teach that student and meet them where they are.
Thanks, Crystal.
It's actually, sorry, I just want to elaborate on that real quick. It's very interesting being that a lot of our students, number one, special ed students will not get on camera, or number two, they won't get on the microphone, but you can almost hear the tone in their typing. Does that make sense? I mean, some of our kids are just like, blah, 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 blah. And then the next day it's like, blah. It's like, whoa, something is off with this kiddo. And so we're able to kind of backpedal, and because we do have all that testing, we do have all that relationship with our kids, I can call them up and say, dude, what's going on? And then I'm just like, okay, too much. So it is really nice being able to have a lot closer relationship through the computer than I ever had with my kids in brick and mortar.
And they will get on our Zoom IEP meetings. They may never say a word in live session, but when you get them in an IEP meeting, it's like a whole nother ball game, and they talk, and you're like, that's what you sound like. Now we know what you look like. So giving them that individualized opportunity. And a lot of the teachers will do breakout meetings with the students. I know Jen has worked on her own time with students to help them graduate. Everybody will jump on Zoom, we'll make class connect sessions, whatever works best for the student in that one-on-one setting, whether they're gen ed or special ed. I know Alicia's helping a couple seniors right now who are not special ed students, but need some additional support to get them over that last little hump to graduate. So we use all hands on deck. And I can say that when you leave a brick and mortar setting and you move to a virtual, I think our communication increases dramatically, but we also become one great big family. And no matter what happens, like Kate was saying with tech issues, we jump in and help each other. Mahaley will cover a class, Kate will cover a class, I'll cover a class. We might have a teacher message us 5 minutes before and say, my internet's out. Okay, no problem. So you do what you got to do, and everybody, it's always all hands on deck, and this team is a phenomenal group to work with.
And I just want to say one other thing. The biggest difference for me when I went from brick and mortar to teaching online was the number of students on a daily basis that said, thank you. Thank you for teaching me. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for not making me feel stupid. Thank you for not, thank you for telling me that I can still do something that has a 0. It just, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I never once got that in the brick and mortar setting. And I had that, and even in the principal role, I get emails like that every week from students. Thank you for sending me this. Thank you for noticing how hard I'm working. Thank you for not giving up on me. So I would say that to me is the biggest piece.
And I just want to read one of the comments someone posted. They said, it's so encouraging to hear how well you're still able to really know make sure I'm reading that right. It's so encouraging to hear how well you are still able to really know the students. This is awesome. Thank you. And that was from Jamie Nemo. And I know we're in the last couple of minutes, but I just want to thank all of you for attending today. I also want to thank everyone at Ohio Digital Learning School for joining us today. Now, again, as I said before, I work in the headquarters in the office for HR, but I do come from a family of educators. I have one of my aunts is a retired special education teacher who's taught for over 30 years. So hearing the stories from all of the different teachers, especially as I have been hosting for different schools, it's just nice to hear they really are a family. And just hearing it's almost like you're visiting each family when I go to different schools and asking them about their culture and how they teach. So I really appreciate you all for joining today. And thank you everyone that's in the audience who asked questions today. I hope that we were able to answer as many questions as we could. But yeah, I do want to, thank you all for joining us. This was really informative. If you've come in late, we did record this, so we'll be sending this out to the participants, so you can go back and see anything that you may have missed. But if we have any other questions, you can feel free to write them in the chat real quick, because I think we're in a couple, 3 or 4 minutes left.
We haven't heard hardly at all from the student support team.
Well, student support, if you want to introduce yourself and say a couple words.
I'm Tom Loomis. I'm a student support advisor. This has been a wonderful transformation for me. 30 plus years in the brick and mortar schools as a teacher, athletic director, principal, director of technology and instruction. And coming here this year has been a breath of fresh air. Working with the kids that we work with that sometimes have had challenges that have impacted and disrupted their educational experience. And I'm the 12th grade class advisor. And so we're really close to graduation, and we have a lot of seniors who are real close to earning those 20 credits. It's been a fantastic journey with them, to see the smiles on their faces when I do get them on camera, and to hear the joy in their voices when I talk to them on the phone about achieving something that for them they thought was probably never attainable. So the student support team, we work with everybody in the school. We're kind of the first point of contact. So if people have questions and that kind of thing, we can either answer their questions or point them in the right direction to get them the help. We work closely with Ann, our school counselor, and all of the teachers and the administrators. And our sole focus is to get the kids what they need to be successful. And I've worked in many school districts, and this one is by far one that everybody works together for a common purpose to get the kids what they need. And that's fantastic. So yeah, when I put on there, we rock, we really do. So if you have the opportunity, do come join us. It's a great place.
Thank you, Tom. I think my biggest takeaway that I'm hearing from ODLS is like we get the things that the children need. So that I think that's my biggest takeaway for this. So again, we're almost at 4 o'clock. So I just want to thank everyone again for attending today for our ODLS meet and greet. Please be sure to follow us at K12 Careers, where we have other events that are going on. If you have any further additional questions, we can put our email in the chat box. But we, again, just want to thank everyone for attending today, and we hope that you enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Today Wednesday? It's been a week.
Yes, I am.
Enjoy the rest of your Thursday, and we hope you also have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend as well. So be safe, everyone. Stay healthy. See you all later.
Thanks for coming, everyone.